Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's August 17th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and no chart lessons on Fridays if you're new. So won't be a chart lesson tomorrow. We'll be back Monday for our next one. But here's a quick look at our daily chart, and you can see we're starting to get in oversold territory here. We did break that trend line. We just kind of went straight on through it. Two bearish days in a row to close much lower. So um, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But it wouldn't surprise me if we turn down and get into this or get close to this the brown lower line and actually touch it or maybe even push through it. So now that we're headed lower, we might be headed all the way down to this trend line. So we'll see what tomorrow brings and where we go from there. But this thing's looking pretty bearish the last 3 days. So I think we are close to a couple of measured legs down. Let's just look at that real quick. Let's see, it's probably there. And there, yeah, we're much more in the measured leg now. So anyway, we're getting way away from the 21 bar EMA too. So it wouldn't surprise me if we don't snap back here pretty quickly. But we'll see what tomorrow brings and where we go from there. I've felt all along that this bear market wasn't done, but man, this thing rallied for the longest here. So, never argue with the market, and don't just because you think it's going to do something doesn't mean it's going to do it. So keep that in mind. And just about the time I was finally getting bullish, now it is selling off like I was kind of expecting. So, but anyway, we're not going to trade off this chart anyway. We're always going to trade with the intraday, the 2,000 tick intraday chart, and so this is all we do. All we look at this far, just kind of get an idea of what the little longer, higher level look, a little longer period out. So anyway, let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart, go through the trades, and we'll wrap this day up and wrap this week up. Okay, here's the 2,000 tick chart. There's two bluish looking channels here. I used the one, it looked kind of like a spike and channel, and we got more touches there. We got the break at a little different place too. Here's the one I put on here later. I did not play that. I played it like this with the break here, and then we got the new low, and it looked like we were going to rally out of there, and then we turned back down again and made another leg down. I did not do, let's just see how close we got to maybe a measured leg. I'm going to call it that and that, and you can see we got quite a bit more, just like and there would have been your measured move. So that's how I would have been looking for my target there. We continued on. This thing got really weak late in the afternoon. But anyway, if you didn't play this one, you might have played, and I just drew it off these first two swings here. We were turning down early, so that's why I ended up drawing this lower one here. But it could just be one inside the bigger one. So it's hard to say. But the larger, either one you played would have been okay, and if you played both, it would have been okay. I guess that's what I'm getting at. But I'm going to take the bigger one off because that's how I played it right here. And it looked like we might have a range day early on. We did kind of go sideways here, and we did find some support down here and again here. But this thing just, like I said, once it couldn't correct, it started selling off. It was a huge sell-off. But let's zoom in, go through the trades, and we'll wrap the day up. There was 7:30 news item unemployment, so probably just sit tight till a little after 7. As soon as it settled down after it opens up, it made a little bit of a push here, but it wasn't much to it. Then we came back. There's a little two-legged. This is a second entry short. Notice coming up, you get a first entry, and then it opened up and went higher again. Actually, no, that isn't the second entry. I thought it broke lower here somewhere, but no. This is just a little trap here. It's really a triple test. You got one test, two. I didn't draw a line, but I was thinking it was a second entry too. I guess I'm confusing this with a different pattern. But you can see you try to go higher multiple times there, and then you came back and double tested it real quick. And this actually broke higher and failed and turned down. I wouldn't wait to go short here right into the EMA because this is an uptrend at this point. Even though we've had a break in new high, you're looking for a possible sell-off here. But when this broke higher and went by, I like trading that as engulfing because you do have enough room to get out by the time you get back to the EMA. But I wouldn't wait till that close and go short right into that EMA like that. We do get a lower high here, but that's moved a little bit far to call that a lower high. Wait and see if you get a reversal, which you do here. So that's a failed second entry long there. And here's where the second entry was. You get a first entry, and then it broke one higher. So when it came back past there, it's a second entry short. I knew there was a second entry somewhere there. But for you newbies that have a hard time seeing second entries, let me show you this. Here's your new low, so the count is 0. We work up, and when it breaks lower first time, that's a first entry. And then it opened, then it trades back up and closes there and opens here and breaks higher again, and then turns back down. So when it goes past this bar, if it had went on past that in one bar, it would have been a second entry right there, but they made matching lows, so when it broke lower, that's a second entry short. Plus you got a reversal there, so that adds a little more. I don't know if I'd take that just on a second entry, but with the failure in there as well, when we're looking for prices to turn down, I like going short right there. There's a little bit of support across here. We kind of pushed lower and pulled back, and then so this is a new low right here, but it's still not much room there. So just on the second entry alone, I probably would not trade that. But with the failure combined, I like taking that short. So, and then we drop on down, rally back here. I tried drawing that trend line off here, which I showed you the secondary channel, and it came into play, but this is still looking more choppy and sideways, even though it has a little bit of a downward slant to it. It's kind of a sideways downward market at this point. Didn't get a good enough signal bar here. It's just a first entry anyway, plus you hadn't traded outside that little channel, so you really can't trade that one. And then we come back here. That's just a first entry, not much room to the low. You really move way too far to be going short right there without a true. I mean, there's probably a hidden second entry in there, but I don't like that. Drops on down, bounces here, close outside, first entry, and then you get a triple test. 1, 2, 3. I didn't draw this all the way over there, but you can clearly see there's a triple test there. And this is basically a double bottom, so you get a first entry, second entry. So that's a second entry short too. Nice signal bar. I like going short there. And really, you get a failure here, but you're too. Look how flat the EMA is now. It's starting to look sideways, and it is, and that's because it ends up going sideways. But you drop down, you get a close outside new low. This one is tempting to go long. But we bounced early, so you don't know that there's really going to be support down here. You can clearly see resistance up here, but you don't know about the support yet. Then you get another turn down here. I don't know setup really, and then of course you bounce here again. But again, it makes a double bottom there, and that's a pretty good signal bar. But that's your first close outside that channel. It is a second entry. So when it broke higher there, but it's not an engulfing bar, so you got to wait till this closes, and so I think you're better off to wait and see, because it could turn back down again and then try to make a new low. It doesn't. It just keeps going. I mean, if you'd had multiple tests like this, I'd say take that trade, but it looks a little congested too, so it's not really looking like rejection yet. We come back up here and you turn down right at that same spot again, and it also confirms this lower trend line that I put on here. And so I'm really liking that trend line at this point. I like going short there. Yeah, you hadn't broken this but look how many times you've turned down there, plus you confirmed the trend line. It's hard to say no to that one. then we just trade back down here to the low side, and it breaks out, and of course quickly fails. And you really kind of confirm this channel down here, but notice you get a first entry short, you push back, you get a second entry short. So if it breaks higher here, it's a failure, and it breaks higher above that right there. Because it's been so flat, most breakouts are going to fail. I like trying to trade this back into the range, which it does. I didn't draw this all the way over, but it doesn't continue to stay in that range. So I like this just to trade it back to retest that, and maybe it goes all the way back to the high. It doesn't, but it gets up here and it turns down again. Notice this green channel, you get a break, move to a new high, then you get that little push up. Look how far you are away from the EMA. Maybe you take that trade. I think you're better off to wait on a lower high because we're not quite back up to here yet. It's pretty much a double top with this right here. This has just gotten lower, and it's really a, I mean, you could call that a triple test too, really. 1, 2, and 3. And so maybe you take that trade. I'm not crazy about it, but there's reasons to like that trade, so maybe you take it. Turns out to be a really nice move, and you get a break here, move to a new low, and then you just start working sideways again. There's a little failed break lower here, but you're looking for prices to try to make a new low, which has to go lower than this. This is your first break of the blue channel, and so you'd expect prices to make a new low, but they're just kind of real slowly moving down, and I just don't see any entries right in here that would make me want to go. And finally, you do make a new low, and then you get a second entry short. Really strong signal bar there, but notice how we push through the midline. You would expect them to come back and test that before going higher. So I'm leery of going short right there. It would have worked. We come back, same thing again, and then we bounce here again and make a triple test with a big bullish bar. I like going long right there just to try to get a scalp because you got plenty of room between here and here. And this is an engulfing bar. It broke lower and turned up first, so you could go long right above that bar, but I'd wait for that to close. I mean, it's a pretty big bar, and you're only talking about a tick or two difference there. It still doesn't take off until finally you get a little trap right there, but you can't go long right into that trend line. Even though we've already had a break and a new low, I would sit tight and wait. And you can see we get a pretty nice trend up, and then close outside. Another leg down, and there's just no entries here, but you get a little trend working down, close outside, new low, then it turns back up, but there's no signal bar here to go long, and you're expecting prices to try to retest that high, which they do. I don't think you quite make a new high there. High is 27.50, 27, so it makes a double top basically. But the signal bar is this green bar, so you can't really go short. And you get a first entry long there and a second entry. So if it breaks below that, you got a failure, and there it is. That turned out to be a really nice move down. And again, now you're looking for a new low that's lower than these last lows right here. You might have traded this as a little range. I mean, we're just kind of working sideways there, but there's just not much room. Well, there it is right there. I just don't know if there's enough room there, but you might have looked at trading it that way, and if you did have enough room, see, there's not quite enough room. Didn't matter. It's in a big downtrend, and that's why maybe you take that trade. And it might have even been like here, and this is a failed breakout. In that case, then maybe you definitely take it. So I'd make it green because look, you get not only this trend line, you get the original trend line, and you're expecting prices to make a new low. So it does. It drops on down. Then you're running sideways, and you get your close outside. There's a double top there, but no setup I'd want to take, and you just don't get a chance to go short there. There's a hidden second entry right here. On the pullback. So that's a possibility maybe, that you could say, hey, we might take that trade. You get a lower high here, but it's not a tradable one. It's too, prices have moved too far. And then finally, you get a first entry, second entry. Normally, I'd tell you doji not to go short, but this, when you get a second entry short right off a key entry point in a very bearish market, where this thing is bearish now on 5 ticks, that's probably worth taking. It's a little more advanced. If you're not consistently profitable, you probably don't want to take a trade like that. But if you understand the price action, you see what's going on, maybe you take that trade. Drops on down, and you just start working sideways. No setup here. And then you come back and you get a lower high right here. Because this is so bearish, and again, it's 8 ticks, I like going short there. You just need to have room to get out before this little 2-bar matching low. It didn't end up mattering, but and it looks like you kind of get an overshoot here, and you work back up, and again you get a first entry, and then it opens here, but it doesn't trade higher, and it turns back down. So really that's still part of the first move down, so it's only a first entry short, and you never get a second entry there. And then you get another leg up here, and that takes you into 230. So I don't see anything else there that I would want to go long or short. So there's how I saw it today. This thing turned down. I mean, we traded up during the overnight and then turned down at the regular session open, and it only accelerated into the late morning, afternoon, and pretty much closed almost on its low today. So there it is. That's how I saw it. Again, you could have played it with the, let me take this one off so we don't have them both on there, and I'll put this other one back on. You could have played it like this. You really come to the same conclusions. In the end, this one may even fit better. But I'd played it on the other one because early on you were turning down, and it was, I could find no reason for it to turn down because there's no trend line down there. Of course, you got the sideways stuff, so maybe that's the explanation for it. But that probably even fits better. So if you saw it like that, that's great. I still think you get to the same conclusion because you would have had this in here anyway, and you still got your break at the same location basically, I think. And actually, I think you got a break here and move to a new low. But that might have precluded you from going long right here if you saw it this way. So I don't think you were wrong either way. Both of them fit. In the end, this one fits better. Early on, the other one fit better early, but then by the end of the day, this one fits better. But usually, if you don't see it till the end of the day, it doesn't help you that much. But so I think you're fine if you saw this either way. But in the big scheme of things, this one tends to fit better at the end of the day. So, and you still probably could have found most of this by the sideways stuff. So I think if you played it this way, you're fine. So anyway, that's going to do it. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.